We're going to continue now with the Quran, and this will be called Quran Brown 5. Now, we'll be using two different books this time. The reason is that it is extremely difficult to get comments on it. So, what I'm going to do this time is this particular book here, the Study Quran, was written by an entire team of scholars, and it took them many, many years to do this. And so when you see the Quran in here, what you see for the most part, and you will notice it on the very top, is the Quran itself, but underneath, those are all the comments. Now that's like a Bible, for example, with comments on the bottom, except in this case, whereas in the Bible, the comments are usually based on that Bible's particular theological standpoint. This one is not based on a particular standpoint. What it does, it gives various standpoints, which I particularly like. What some people don't like about this is it doesn't give a definitive standpoint. In other words, a standpoint which they believe is the correct one. They will give several and let the reader decide for themselves about it. Now, we will be dealing with that same surah as before, that surah number 4, sections or verses 156 to 158, which is that docetism. Now, in this, when we read it, we may have to go through several sections at a time instead of one at a time, because it will take a while. And of course, there is so much in here, I will not do some sections before or after that section in particular, because it would be too long. But what we will do in this one, we will begin reading now in that one section that deals with that particularly difficult topic having to do with whether Jesus was on the cross or was substituted for by someone else, and so on. So we will begin reading a little bit of this now. Now it says, although the Quran addresses the criticism of Christian belief in the Trinity and the distinction of Jesus, this is the only passage that addresses the belief in Christ's crucifixion and death. It does not come to a context to critique of Christian belief, however, but rather as part of a longer passage criticizing historical incidents of Jewish unfaithfulness in their covenant. It is important to note here that the criticism is not arrived at directly in the belief of Christ's crucifixion and death, but rather that the Jews claim to have killed him. This claim seems in this way of mocking and demonizing Jesus' prophethood is understood in the context of the Quranic assertion that the Israelites and Jews expect some of the prophet that had been sent to them and elsewhere. Now, we're going to continue this because it says only the verse, although the verse only directly criticizes the Jewish claim to have killed and crucified Jesus. Now, I'm going to stop right there, and so we can go on right with that section where we left off in this particular book.